Right, I hope you're well wherever you are watching us from. This is the inaugural edition of Sports 360. Remember, this is the news show in town, and we'll be bringing you that interview, that big interview you want to hear from the various sports personalities. I'll hand it over to Grace to start us off for today.
So today we are joined by pretty much a known name in the rugby circles. He's Rasta Rasivhenge. He's a top flight referee. He's been in the center of the Olympics final. He's among one of the accolades to his name. He's been the youngest referee to ref the Currie Cup final, and also he was at it again also at the Commonwealth Games. So he'll just come along to tell us his rugby story and maybe just to share with us how it has been during this COVID-19 season, especially for the game, and what he's been up to. So Rasta, welcome. And just to start us off, tell us, how did your rugby story start?
Hi guys, firstly, thanks for inviting me on Sports 360. It's good to converse with everyone in Kenya and around the world. And I'm going to share a couple of insights with you guys. So my rugby journey obviously started after university, or while I was studying in university. I used to do a bit of sports coaching while I was studying my teaching degree. And then obviously we had to referee at the school that we were coaching because we were part of the system on Saturdays, and really enjoyed that. And then after that, I was playing a club game, and I was on the bench, and one of my mates was having a go at the ref, and I didn't like it. And then after the game, I think the ref was an old man, picked it up, came across and asked me to join refereeing, and I was reluctant to join refereeing. But then I went home, and because of my stature, I thought about it and wanted to be in the game, and because I love the game. And then, then started taking up refereeing from there. That was around 2000 and I think 7, 8 or 9, somewhere around there.
So how has it been? Yours has been quite a journey, starting off as from the college as a maths teacher, and getting to the top level of refereeing. How has it been for you? What are the sacrifices that you've had to make to get this far?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of challenges in refereeing. It's the travel factor, and juggling 2 jobs was a bit tough. And the biggest thing for me, obviously, I couldn't carry on teaching full-time because then I became a full-time SA rugby referee and traveled quite a lot around with the 7th Circuit around the world, and couldn't be in the classroom. So then I decided to focus on refereeing, and it went well. And obviously the challenges that I faced changed. It's the amount of days you're away from home. You miss your friends, your family. You make a lot of sacrifices, like any other job, but really enjoying the journey. And it's something special, and meeting great friends around the world and enjoying myself.
Personally, you've made a name for yourself as a top referee for the Rugby 7s, but recently you've been trying to move to the Rugby 15s game. How will you say the transition is?
Yeah, so I was quite fortunate to do both codes at a high level, refereeing 7s. I started refereeing Super Rugby actually in 2015. But not extensively, because I was still concentrated on 7s and Olympics, and obviously the 2018 World Cup as well that I went to in San Francisco. So the workload, I had to share the workload between the 2 codes. And then obviously the transition for me wasn't that difficult because I had both feet in both camps and could adjust quite easily to both games. So I enjoyed that, juggling the 2. And then obviously my time came up with the sevens, and I've focused on fully on 15 Super Rugby. So being privileged, obviously, I've already got, I think it's about around 30 caps in Super Rugby over the last 4 or 5 years. And it's been a great journey and really enjoying it.
Coming to who will you say has been the toughest captain or the toughest team that you've had to deal with on the pitch? Any person that comes to mind?
Yeah, I'd say probably the toughest captain to deal with is myself. I'd say, you know, for me, I don't find people really tough to deal with. You know, you're going to deal with emotions, but it's all about how you balance your intra and intrapersonal skills with them and communication and stuff like that. And obviously people come from different backgrounds, but I'd say it will probably be a club game that I officiated in. When I was younger, I had this really, really tough captain where he was just having a go at the whole game. He just didn't want to play and he was a bit naughty on the field. But other than that, most of them are pretty decent to deal with around the world.
Okay, so Rasta, having been a referee and been involved in the game over the years, how would you say the referee uptake has been in the continent? And maybe could you shed some light on your role? Are there any roles, active roles that you're playing to make sure that people are getting into the game more?
Yeah, so if we look at the continent, I think we are blessed in Africa. We've got a lot of great athletes and we've had great coaches working with the athletes. And if I solely focus on refereeing, these great programs out there that have been set out to enrich referees, I've had opportunities to have a couple of exchanges in quite a lot of the countries in Africa, sharing a bit of knowledge and also getting to referee their rugby and to also learn at the same time. That's what I've really enjoyed. And my most recent trip obviously was to Kenya to help out the referees last year at a sevens tournament. Actually, it was a 3-leg tournament that I came through for the circuit. And it was really great to see how the guys are developing. You know, I remember my first time in Kenya was probably 7 or 8 years ago. And to see the development that's been put in place is absolutely fantastic by guys like John Bosco, you know, and guys that obviously do exchanges here in Cape Town from all over Africa. They come into camps that are afforded by South African Rugby. Yeah, there's other initiatives that I'd like to also get involved in upskilling more African refs and see if we can get more representation on higher levels around the world.
All right, that's great. We look forward to seeing you in Kenya again. And a little bird tells me that you're writing a book. Would you tell us more about that? What you're reading currently?
Yeah, so I'm busy writing my book at the moment. Obviously, I'll let the secret out the bag once the book is complete. It's all about my journey. Obviously, in the previous game, which is the sevens game, that has helped me, shaped me who I've become and given me opportunities to obviously evolve into the 15s game. And this book, I'll be sharing quite a lot of insights in terms of, you know, how the sport of rugby has changed my life. It's obviously influenced me in a lot of sectors, my ups and downs, disappointments. We'll be sharing some great stories to make people laugh as well. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this book. Hopefully it's published in the next couple of months. And we'll distribute it all over Africa to inspire African refs as well and other refs around the world. So I think that's pretty exciting to share those insights so people know what it's about. because at the end of the day, it's about educating, sharing, imparting knowledge, and then developing future stars, as we are only caretakers of what we do in any job. So we just got to create more pathways for other people.
Nice stuff. We'll
So
be
what are
looking
you
forward for that book. Grace? We'll be looking forward for that book, Rasta. I want us to a little throwback right now, yeah. The 1995 South African triumph, that when we were able to beat New Zealand 15-12 to lift the Webb Ellis Trophy. Where were you at that time, and what did it mean to South Africa as a nation? What are some of your memories of that triumph in 1995?
Yeah, so obviously in 95, I was a 9-year-old boy back then. And my fond memories of it, obviously, is I was sitting in front of a TV. Back then, obviously, we had limited TV channels, so we all had to go sit at the local gathering. We were all watching the 95 World Cup. And my fondest memory of it, obviously, was the old SAA plane flying over the stadium. And obviously Nelson Mandela, walking, on that field. For me, that was the most cherishable or memorable moment of my life, because that was the start of the change of a lot of things in South Africa and obviously Africa and obviously around the world, So it was a massive moment, not just the rugby, but just that monumental presence of him. He was colossal in his representation. The way he walked said 1,000 words, so I really enjoyed that part. And in terms of the game itself, obviously as a 9-year-old boy, I wasn't really educated in rugby, just watching sport, but it was pretty entertaining to see everybody happy, dancing in the streets afterwards and celebrating. So I just partook in the events, but didn't really understand what was going, except Joel Stransky dropping that drop goal and it went through the poles. I just knew that we had won, So yeah, that's my fondest memories of the 95 World Cup.
I personally remember when I was 9 years old watching a rugby match. I just saw it was a contact game. You get the ball, you try to push and shove people around. I really didn't understand it as a rugby game, but great stuff. Let's come to the topic that is on everybody's lips right now, the COVID-19 pandemic. Personally, how would you say you've been able to keep fit all along? Some of the community projects maybe you're involved back there in South Africa, and what do you think will be the future of sports post-COVID-19?
Yeah, obviously the whole world is facing a pretty tough time with COVID, and it's brought a lot of challenges for everybody around the world. But at the same time, it's a blessing for us to press the restart button, to be innovative, to find new ways and new strategies to make life work. And it's just reinventing or rebuilding ourselves, which is very important. So if we look at the positives, it's a restart button for all of us. And it's just going to make us more innovative and care about each other, our families, our loved ones and everything. And in terms of training and stuff, obviously in South Africa, we've had the different levels of restrictions. We had level 5 all the way down to 1. We start on level 5 where everything is complete lockdown and only essential services are allowed. So it was a tough period for about 4 to 5 to 6 weeks where we couldn't really get out the house, except if you're going to the shops and then you returned back home. So in terms of training, it was very limited because you couldn't go running and stuff. You just did obviously your strength, core conditioning stuff in your own backyard if you could, or if you had the equipment to do it. So that was a bit of a challenge, but we had to adhere to government's rules because it's very important for us to look after each other and protect, obviously, ourselves from contracting the virus. And then once we went down to lockdown level 4, the restrictions eased a bit. We had to practice more social distancing. We could go for jogs at a certain time early in the morning, and then it was complete lockdown after that. So it was pretty interesting to see everyone going out between 6 and 9 o'clock, running and, obviously doing their thing just to keep fit and exercising their brains, which is great. And obviously you could still do your stuff at home after 9 o'clock till the next morning, 6 o'clock. And then we went down probably for another 4 to 5 weeks. And then we went down to lockdown level 3, where we could exercise at any time during the day, but we can't go to gyms or anything where there's public gathering. So that made it easy to go for a bit more jogs. We're still currently on lockdown level 3. It is challenging, but we do what we can do, and we're innovative in our training strategies and our methodologies, which is good, staying fit. And in terms of your last question regarding the return to sport in South Africa, some sports have returned, obviously. Sports that obviously are non-contact, like golf, I think tennis, and other sports, which is great. But obviously the contact sports cannot return till we hear from government when it's safe to return, and when we drop down the COVID infection numbers, obviously, which is a bit different to countries like New Zealand, because they only have a population of 3 million, and they could obviously minimize the virus, or get rid of the virus, if I should say. But in South Africa, we've got more than 68 million people, so it's a bit more difficult. And the pandemic obviously is a bit of a challenge as our numbers increase. But if people keep practicing good social distancing, sanitizing, and doing all that stuff, we should be able to reduce the numbers. And contact sports will come back sometime soon. I don't think this pandemic is going to last forever. It's just a phase that we're going through, and if we do the right stuff, the contact sports will come back, and we'll obviously, I don't say we'll get back to a normal life, it'll be the new norm, let me rather say.
Pre-COVID, I know, Rasta, there's some projects that you've been doing back at home. Maybe you take us through how has that been coming along for you before the outbreak, and maybe what currently you're involved with beside the game?
Yeah, Grace, thanks for the question. So I've been really privileged to start my own charity pre-COVID. I started last year, probably around November. And my charity has been doing well for little kids, teaching them rugby skills. Obviously, it's non-contact. We're just introducing kids to rugby and enhancing their skill set, boys and girls, which is great. We try to bring a celebrity every week, which was my methodology around it. The kids, we've had our national captain, Sia Kolisi, come to a session. We have guys like Cecil Africa, we had guys like Paul True. We have had guys, all different, Skarant Bini, all the guys in Cape Town and stuff, which has been pretty fun for the kids, and they've really loved it. Obviously, we feed the kids. These are underprivileged kids, mostly. We give them stationery packs. We've been blessed to get some of our sponsors, our personal sponsors like Mitsubishi Motors involved. They obviously give us a lot of stationery packs for the kids. They give us masks for the kids. They feed the kids as well. We've partnered up with a couple of local grocery stores like Fresh Stop. They give us health products for the kids. And also we've had donations from various people, like the financial services from Mitsubishi as well, giving them t-shirts and clothing. So it's been a really fun journey for me, running my own charity for the kids. But obviously when COVID struck and I have to practice good social distancing and adhere to government's rules, couldn't continue with it. So we've just paused it a bit, but I've been fortunate. I live in Hart Bay, right at the bottom of Cape Town. As you saw in those pictures, I'm able to go to the stables where I have a horse as well. I've been looking after my horse, obviously grooming, and then spending a lot of time at the stables during lockdown. So I had an essential service permit, so I could obviously go and educate my brain and learn about animals. And that's my next project that's coming up. It's horse therapy for kids, underprivileged kids, and kids that obviously want to learn about animals. So we're going to use that avenue to, grow the kids holistically. It won't just be the rugby skills. We're going to have a whole complete project where we're going to invest in different initiatives. Rugby is one of them. Animals is one of them. And obviously after that, I'll let you guys know a massive secret where we're going to run an initiative for African kids around Africa, which is pretty exciting. We're going to amalgamate something really special around Rainbow Africa. Obviously my project is called Rainbow Republic, but we've got a great initiative coming for rugby, for Africa, and will be Rainbow Africa's coming soon.
Great. We'll look forward to following what you're doing, of course. And I think this is the point where we switch it up. A little surprise for you. We're going to have a quick 5 for you.
Yeah. Great.
So here we go. Best Kenyan food.
Go. Missed the question, sorry.
Which is your best Kenyan food?
My best Kenyan food would be goat.
Goat meat, you say?
Yes.
It's called mbuzi in the local dialect.
Yeah.
So, okay, 15s or 7s? Which one would you go for? Any day?
15s, yeah.
15.
I see why. In the Soweto Derby, Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates?
Pirates all the way.
See you. Favorite music?
Reggae.
Who specifically? Which is your favorite reggae artist?
Allow
Bob Marley.
me to jump in. Is that where the nickname Rasta came from? Your addiction for reggae, your love for reggae, is that where the nickname Rasta came in?
No, that comes from a very significant place. I'm sure everyone does the maths. It comes from a very young age. If you do the maths and you add 1 and 1, the answer is 11. It's not 2. No, I'm joking. No, I just grew up with the name, obviously, from a young age, because people couldn't pronounce my surname. And then I inherited the name, and it's become something special. So, yeah, really love the name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the last one. If I had you, Rasta, Collins Injera, and Perry Baker, who do you think is going to finish first in 100 meters?
In 100 meters, probably me, because I'll start 50 meters ahead of both of them.
That's a nice one, Rasta. I think Perry and Collins should hear this. They should actually hear this. And we give them 24 hours to respond.
Yes, let's give, I give this challenge to Collins and Injera. I would finish at 100 meters in approximately 6 seconds. He'll finish it in 12. So I'm looking forward to the challenge. And for Perry, he needs to start 110 meters behind us. So I'd probably still finish in 6 seconds. He'll finish it in 13.
Nice.
All right, gentlemen, there you have it from the man himself, Rasta. So Rasta, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate coming to hang out with us at Sports 360. We send our regards to everyone in South African rugby and around the world. And maybe you can have a final shot maybe to your fans and friends in Kenya and all over the world.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, thanks to Sports 360 for inviting me on this Zoom call, or if you want to call it a webinar. It's a really fantastic opportunity to share some insights and knowledge. And to all my African family, brothers all around the world, let's keep working hard and striving for excellence. And to everyone, just remember that things will come right. Let's practice good social distancing, sanitizing and everything. And let's build a better nation. We've got great opportunities now to restart and exciting times. Let's look at the positives and let's make it work.